Blessed be. And hello and namaste. All right. So I was thinking about you guys and I decided to come back and talk a little bit more about generational curses and where they come from, and just a little bit about removing them and more about like some of the ins and outs of it. Okay. So this is High Priestess Jamil. And I don't know, like I've seen other spiritualists talking about this, but I've never really heard anyone offering reversals or removals. If you are somebody that offers that, I really appreciate that, because I feel like you have to be a really, really strong person. Okay. So in this discussion, I want to speak about where they come from and why they come on. And so this has been something, and I'm completely speaking from what I am sensing from spirit, what spirit is telling me right now about this. And just to let you guys know, I'm not looking at the phone. I'm not looking at my chat, because I just want to like streamline this and do it really, really quickly, because I'm ready to go to bed. I'm not even gonna, I'm ready to relax and lay down, but I needed to get this out, this information, because Spirit has really been, speaking to me, especially earlier today when Z came in and was talking about certain things, and it kind of got me to thinking. So I feel very, very blessed and loved to have you guys here. You guys are really, really, especially a lot of you that have my back, you respect me, you listen to me. Y'all don't realize how important that is to me. Because growing up around some kind of either abuse or things that probably shouldn't have been happening to you as a child, all sorts of bindings go on your tongue, go on your throat, so that people, and all kinds of bindings come on to where people won't listen to you. So that means a lot to me. Okay. Now, where does generational curses originate from? Most of them, a large percentage of them can come from elders and ancestors that existed a long, long time ago. It can go back at least 100 generations. And it was because of the existence and the prevalence of religion. Okay. So when we fast forward now, and you can reflect this back to at least 100 generations ago or more, um, then you'll see that there was a lot of things that were a test. The Bible can be interpreted any way a person wants to, but I feel like certain things, like, when God told, I can't even remember his name, I don't know if it's Moses or Abraham, when God told Moses or Abraham to, hurt his child. That was a test, which is a really crazy test, very strange and unusual. One that, I guess, if I know, for me, I'm more of a parent that will sacrifice for my children. So if there was a God that told me, hey, do this, and I'm going to say no, I'd rather die in their place. That's just the type of parent that I am. Okay. But it was a test. And so many things, and this is one of the reasons why the Bible is so confusing. Like, it'll say one thing, and then later on it'll say another thing, and then another, and then it's very confusing. And I think that a lot of people are confused And I think that people have been confused throughout the generations. And so, for example, I think that there are many, many ways by which you can find God, but I think that the scariest is sometimes when people find God and they take it a little too far. So, for example, if I'm going to give an example, okay? If you were someone born during the 70s, and let's say that your parents had you, or the 60s, that was when Woodstock was going on. There was probably a lot of unplanned pregnancies, out of wedlock pregnancies during that time. And let's say that you were a love child born of those parents and they were not married. Fast forward 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, or even let's say 20 years, and your parents find God. And then all of a sudden, you are bad, you are spoiled, you are sullied because you are a bastard. The most common, okay? This has been interpreted. To be honest with you, this is something that I don't agree with. Okay. We don't really know if the children or the chattel that the Bible was speaking about was even talking about children. They could have been talking about an animal. They could have been talking about an actual sheep. They could have been talking about a goat. They could have been talking about a cow. We don't know. So that seems to be the most common. All of a sudden, you are a bad child and you were a mistake. And then the parent will start to think in their own self loathing and guilt, possibly, or convenience. They'll start to think, hmm, my life would be better without this child, which is really, really scary because as a parent, I couldn't imagine ever feeling that way about any of my children. If you want to find unconditional love, that's the place that you're going to find it. Seriously. We all know because a lot of people that are watching this, who knows, they'll probably say, well, there's a lot of bad seeds in this world and there's bad children. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about when you are an innocent and you're being slaughtered, you're being sacrificed. We're talking about the way that it happens, and it typically happens on your birthday. Now, the very interesting thing about it is that nobody can put a generational curse on you except for your parents or your grandparents or your great grandparents. So nobody can cook up like, oh, I mean, they can possibly mimic it, but you can, if your parent has put a generational curse on you, you can tell. You can tell if they've done it because you know what? You're going to be stigmatized by the entire world. Okay. Add not being a devout Christian or either a devout Jehovah's Witness or either a devout anything, double, triple trouble. Okay. As the cauldron bubbles. Yeah. Yeah. So typically this is done every year on your birthday. For some reason, the date of birth of a person, it's almost like a time of growth, right? Your date of birth is the time that you made entry into this world. That is a very, very important date. And so I have found, even in my readings from clients that I've done generational curse removers for years ago, um, sometimes I'll do a reading and you'll see it, and it'll come up every year, and it will be so accurate that this was done on your birthday. And it's pretty devastating, okay? Because being generationally cursed, being despised by your parents, it seems like something that is the worst thing in the world. But understand that the fact that you are alive today, it means something. Okay? It means that whatever, guardian angels, you can call it God, whatever has sustained your life and protected you. But it's a very painful life, a life of being unappreciated, sort of being passed around. A generational curse is like having a kick me sign on your back. Okay, it's very stigmatizing. Um, a lot of people that are under generational curses are typically the victims of gang stalking. And so I think that it can happen in many different ways. It can be done in many different ways, depending on the spiritual and religious beliefs of your parent. It can be done through the church, or it can be done while at church and prayer. Okay. Which is why I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie, Scary Movie, which was, and the reason why we bring up movies is because movies can sometimes, it's considered predictive programming. And so if you guys ever saw the movie The Exorcist, and I believe it was part one of Scary Movie, to where at the beginning, it may have been either part one or part two, and the little girl that was possessed, her father was literally nowhere to be freaking found. If you notice, if y'all look at that movie, The Exorcist, the original, and in the play version of The Exorcist, the priest just grabs a gun and shoots the girl. Y'all remember that? And so, but possession, I guess possession by negative spirits, it doesn't manifest like that. It's not puking up green slime. It's not, it's usually not that. What they consider being possessed is talking back, questioning, raising your voice, being disobedient. Those are the main things that they look at. So you can just do those things and be considered possessed by the devil. When you're not possessed by the devil, it is pretty normal for a child at some point to rebel against a parent. It's a part of the normal growth process. And even for a parent to do that to you, they couldn't have possibly been what you would consider a normal parent. There's absolutely no way. Because a lot of the times, depending on who they are, you could be getting punished for something that you did 20 years ago, something that you said to them. which it's kind of crazy because they won't forgive you for things, even though they claim to be all loving, Christian, and forgiving. So it's really a huge contradiction. Now, we all know, according to Jesus's energy, that, he, you hear a lot of people that are generationally cursed. They'll say, I'm not Jesus, and you feel like they're trying to sacrifice you, and it's very bizarre. Child sacrifice is a huge problem, but please be careful of the propaganda out there. I looked at a video from Uganda that was really trying to, put this type of behavior off on witches. And I've never been to Uganda, so I don't know what the hell's going on over there. But to be honest with you, I have met some Satanists that are better people than your most devout Christian. And I'm sorry, the only difference is that they do worship Satan. Okay. Every Satanist wouldn't dare or dream of doing any kind of human sacrifice, let alone child sacrifice. And then you got to look at things, mysterious things like the bones of the children that were found under the Vatican. Who were those people? Pretty much sacrifices, rape victims. They raped them and they killed them, and then they came in Sunday church and they smiled in everybody's face. So it is what it is. Okay. I've been saying I'm going to do a reading on it for a very long time, but there it is in a nutshell. So sometimes a sacrifice can be either a living and walking sacrifice, or they can be a sacrifice for feeding. There's many different ones. So you're either being fed off of, or your body is going to be used as a vessel for something. Okay. And it could possibly be that person. They could be that parent. Like, for example, you know, if they die, then they can become you. The problem is that you are a individual person. So it's funny how this ties into the age of Aquarius, because Aquarius astrologically is connected to the planet Uranus. And Uranus is all about individuality. Okay? It's all about individuality, individualism. Okay, being an individual, being your own person. And so we're going to stay in the age of Aquarius, I can tell you, for probably the next 1,000 years. I mean, this is it. So this is where the universe is going, which is going to bring a lot of peace and a lot of harmony. All of this is being initiated by Mother Earth herself. No matter what they do on this planet, they not running nothing. Okay, just to let y'all know. However, when you're generationally cursed, there can be certain things that can happen to you. You can struggle with your health. You can struggle with your life, your love life. You can struggle you can struggle financially, and there's a reason for that. The reason why it's meant for you to struggle with your love life is because technically and humanly, just like animals that graze in the fields, they are supposed to be allowed to procreate, populate, copulate. But if your love life is screwed up, that means that you are not well fucked. Okay. And I said it, I sure did say it Whether or not you're male or female, you're not being well sexed, which causes what? Health problems. Scientists and doctors have proved it. It's been proven that you can get all kind of fibroid tumors. You can, if and it's not just about sex, it's about love. So if you go without love for too long, it can lower the lifespan. It can shorten the lifespan of a person, right? Yes. So that's why the love life is attacked. And then also another reason why the love life is attacked, because depending on who you are and what the plan is for you, if there's a chance that somebody loves you, then the plan can be foiled if somebody's looking out for you. So everybody got to hate you. Everybody has to distrust you, right? Okay. The reason why the financial comes up is because if you're financially strapped, you're going to be more stressed. If you're in a stressed state of mind, that is because you're being fed on. Now, the love life is being attacked because your sexual energy is being fed on. Okay. But if you are financially strapped or you have financial problems, more than likely you're going to be unhealthy. You're not going to make the best choices of food. You're not going to have fresh food. And that leads to your mind being weaker and you being more, especially if you're stressed, you being more palatable. Okay. And understand that if you already have children, it doesn't stop at you, it trickles down to your children. Okay. So it's very important when you are removing these curses to be very specific about what it is that you're doing. And it's really important for you to protect your children. Okay. Because your children will be affected. Um, because they're next in line to be sacrificed in some kind of way. This has nothing to do with racism, slavery, or anything like that. Nothing to do with it, because there's a lot of white people, all people of all races have parents that generationally hex them. Okay. Generational curses come straight from it. You can't be generationally cursed from an outside source. No way. Okay. Now, I was looking at a story about a mother who murdered her daughter not too long ago. This is becoming a huge issue for some reason. And I believe that it's because these people are possessed. Okay. And, I can promise y'all that there's no reason at all for you to have to die for a parent or vice versa. From what Spirit was telling me is that it's totally unnecessary and they don't like it. They don't like it at all. Okay. Any of it. They don't like it. Thank you, Goddess. So, this is a part of my necromancy class, by the way, because especially if you have a parent, or either it possibly could be, initiated by a spiritualist or either a preacher or priest, possibly. But at the end of the day, ultimately, if it is done by a parent that's still alive, then they could be trying to renew that contract. And typically, it's done either on your birthday, definitely your birthday, definitely the new year, definitely during the Sabbaths. So this is the reason why it's important. And see, there are ancestors, which is why I really trust the pagan ones. I trust them because this was before, this was pre Christianity times. So I trust them. Okay. So, but, and, of course we trust Hecate, but, and a lot of the ancestors that liberate and free us from that. Okay. And so, but, and, but in order for you to actually free yourself of it, you have to know it and you have to accept it, and all the signs are there. It's not like okay, it's all out in the open. Okay, it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not like y'all, like you're just being paranoid, because you're not being paranoid, because their actions are speaking so loudly. Is their actions and their attitudes and their words that they're speaking to you. Um, and so there is a way out of that. I know that a majority of the world is probably looking at you right now like something is wrong with you. You don't belong here, but that is happening in spirit. That is a team of entities that are snarling and hungry for your soul and everything else. Can be removed. You remove it, it goes away, straight up and down. So many people have benefited from it. Now the struggle can come in to where somebody keeps trying to recreate. Like if you have a parent that wants to renew the contract, oh, this person's not dead yet. Oh, they're not, someone hasn't killed them yet. Oh, it's, they'll keep doing it. They'll keep doing it. Okay. They'll keep trying it. So I do think that it is important to repeat or either make sure that because, I think that what it is that when they realized that we realized it, and when they realized that we removed it, they started to try to find other ways around it. The saying in the Bible that says, honor thy mother and thy father, and his days will be long. Well, guess what? You honor your children and your days will be long. That's how I feel about the situation. Because a lot of you guys are good kids. You're good kids. You know what I'm saying? Even though a lot of y'all grown, but you still, y'all know what I'm saying. And, they've taught you to be afraid of them. They've taught you to fear them. You know what? I do think that on some level, I think that kids should, well, they should, be aware. I don't think that anybody should be raised in fear. I don't think it's necessary all the time. I don't think it's necessary no part of the time. Okay, there's actually a really good book on peaceful parenting, and it does work. Now, if they doing the rituals and stuff and sending them spirits, a lot of you guys have already seen it manifest in your kids to where your kids are possibly behaving a certain way. And, that's something that you as a parent have to understand, that you can clear your child of those spirits without hurting them. You don't have to hurt them. It's simple as, herbs. There's so many different ways to heal from a lot of this, but, and it's very, very non-invasive to the point where, um, your children will be okay. So, again, like I said, nobody else except for the parent or the grandparent can put that on you. Nobody else can do that. Okay. And trust me, I haven't seen it in person, but I've seen it in spirit. You'll be totally surprised. Opening up a box, y'all. You'd be totally shocked at how sometimes your concerned parents, oh, they'll just be talking about you like you are the worst piece of dog crap in the world to anybody and everybody that will listen. And you'll be thinking, well, I've never done anything. What is going on? And you haven't. Sometimes they'll even try to create things that you've done, but you haven't done anything wrong. They're just confused, especially if there was any type of brain damage that may have happened either through, um, you know, um, drugs. Maybe there was a past drug addiction or a current drug addiction. I think that one of the most scariest things is a person that, somehow manages to get off of drugs, and they do it by finding God, right? And it's a good thing to get off of drugs. But what else is happening? I mean, there is a story right now on Netflix about a mother who just recently, it's called Sins of Our Mother, just recently hooked up with a church, got bamboozled and hoodwinked. Her children ended up buried in a ditch. Same thing goes for the other lady that killed her 5 children. I think is it Andrea Yates? Yeah. Same thing for her, because they had the pastor of the church was under scrutiny because it was all about these kids are bad, they're bad, they're bad, and you know what I'm saying. And they actually made a movie called Baby. I think it's called Baby Blues or something like that. Um, and so they'll say all sorts of things. Oh, it was postpartum depression. No. Okay, that is things that are coming in through spirit. Those are a weak-minded parent that doesn't have a lot of self-preservation. When you think about it, it's so far removed from nature. But even when you look at some animals, because I don't know if this was fake or real, but I saw like a picture or a video of like two different species of animals doing it. It was like, are you kidding me? Seriously? I mean, this is weird. That ain't supposed to be happening. You know, it wouldn't. It definitely wouldn't be normal to walk down the street and see a dove and a donkey having sex with each other. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, so you can have that stuff removed from you. But the thing of it is that um, it depends on how long you have been slated. Because if it's been something that has been, or you know what, that doesn't even matter, because like, especially those of you that can't remember half of your childhood, you never know what it is that you've been blocking out. So there may have been painful things that have happened from a child, and now you have to heal yourself from it. But you can heal yourself. You can. You can heal your children. Okay. And I'm always here for you, as a very powerful healer. I've done it. I've done it not only for myself and my own family, but I've done it for other families because that's important. Okay. So y'all keep it cool. Okay. Hold on to what I'm saying to y'all. I know that a lot of y'all are going through some very painful things. It's something that is very taboo to talk about, but you can talk about it to me. It's very, very taboo to talk about it. And it's not that you have to hurt the parent. You don't have to hurt them. You don't have to do anything to them. You have the right to liberate yourself from that. Because there are certain entities that are, you know, um, they used to like if you look back in history about it, you have to read about it, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of you guys are very lucky that that you're here. You're very lucky to be here. Okay. And I'm glad that y'all are here because, we can definitely heal together and, get your life back on track. Okay. And the further that you get away from that memory, and sometimes it can take a few years to completely liberate yourself, especially if, there's some kind of incentive, maybe life insurance policy or something like that, because that is sometimes a driving force in it. Hmm, we're not going to get off into that. With that said, guys, I'm going to go because I'm tired. I need to get in the bed. Okay. I will catch y'all later. Y'all have a good week. Blessings.